A very warm welcome to all of you. My name is Abhishek Yadav, and I'm from IM 3G MBA first year from Section D, roll number 2501241. So, for the IEP assignment, I have chosen the topic Gender Wage Gap and Female Workforce Participation in India. Gender wage gap is one of the biggest problems which India is facing right now, and hence it is imperative that we understand this topic in detail. So, what is gender pay gap? Imagine two people, they are working for the same job in same office and same number of hours. One person earns 100 rupees and the other earns 80 rupees. What is the difference? The difference is of a gender. One person is a male and the other is female. So, according to International Labour Organization in 2023, the gender pay gap is 19 percentage and the female LFPR, that is labor force participation rate, is 24 percentage according to Center for Monitoring of Indian Economy in 2023. These numbers highlight the gravity of the situation. So now let us look at some numbers. The female labor force participation is 24 percentage, whereas the men labor force participation is 76 percentage. So there is a gap between 52 percentage points, and also it gets worse. Even the women who are working, they earn significantly less. On average, a woman doing the same job as men, they take home about 48,000 rupees less every year just because of her gender. And also, if we look globally, Sweden female LFPR is 60 percentage, China at 61 percentage, Bangladesh 40 percentage, and India is at an alarming rate of 24 percentage. So let us now understand what are the barriers. Let us understand why this gap persists. So this gap persists due to five reasons. The first one is unpaid care burden. Indian women, they do 6 times more unpaid housework than men. The second issue is of a skill gap. Female literacy is 70 percentage compared to 84 percentage male. Vocational training, it reaches only 17 percentage of the women. The third reason is informal sector. 73% of the working women, they lack contract or minimum wages. Fourth is of a legal gap. Weak enforcement of existing protections. The fifth is of a mobility issues. Safety concerns and poor public transport quietly restrict women's access to job. Now let us look at some historical context of how we have reached this situation. So in 1947, our constitution actually enshrined the right to equal pay. Article 39D says that men and women should be paid equally for equal work. So the intent was always right. In 1961, we passed the Equal Remuneration Act. In 1991, it brought economic liberalization. Women entered IT and BPO jobs in city, but the wage gap actually widened in many sectors. 2005 was actually the peak, wherein 36% of the women were in the workforce. 2013, it brought the POSH Act, the sexual harassment law. It was important, but the implementation is still patchy. 2017 brought an extended maternity benefit, that is 26 weeks of paid leave. It was a good intent, but we will come back to why it actually backfired. And 2021 was when the COVID hit, and women, they lost job at twice the rate men did, and female participation crashed to 20 percentage. So Indian government, they implemented a lot of solutions and policies, but there has been a barriers to implementation. There are three barriers. The first barrier is a social barrier. So patriarchal norm means many families, they don't want women working far away from home. There's a social stigma, and the dowry system actually reduces the economic incentive for families to invest in daughters' career. The second barrier is institutional. The Equal Remuneration Act is barely enforced. Affordable childcare barely exists, and most government schemes for the entrepreneurs are gender blind. They were not designed with women's specific constraint in mind. And the third barrier is economical. Here's the bitter irony. The 2017 Maternity Benefit Amendment, which was meant to help women by extending paid maternity leave to 26 weeks, actually backfired because the employers, especially small businesses, they started avoiding hiring women of childbearing age because they could not afford the extra cost. So what can be the roadmap, what the Indian government can do? So here is a 10 years roadmap, which can be divided into phase wise. The phase one from 2025 to 2027, here we can uh, focus on enforcing existing laws that already exist on papers, like sharing the cost of maternity benefit between employers and the government, starting gender wage audits for all listed companies, and launching a large-scale digital skilling program targeting 5 million women. The phase two from 2017 to 2030 can be made to bring structural changes. We can scale up affordable childcare nationally, offer tax credit to MSMEs that employ more than 40% women, and expand self-help group credit linkages, and build safe and affordable transfer of women in smaller cities. The phase three will be from 2030 to 2025, And here we can focus on systematic parity. We can target a female LFPR of 40% by 2035. The goal is to raise female participation from 24% to 40% and cut the wage gap by 50%. So coming to the final conclusion slide, India cannot become a developed nation that is a Vikasit Bharat while half of its population is either underpaid or left out of economy entirely. The gender wage gap is not inevitable. It is a policy choice and it can be undone through better policy choices. Bridging the gender gap is not charity. It is the single highest return investment India could make. With this, I would like to sign off. Thank you.